Hello folks, I'm John Myrie and welcome to the Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. On this week's show we have tips and reports for you from Ken Milender down at Hayward Bait and Bottle. And then we talk with Kevin Bushnick from the Youth Conservation Alliance. And lastly, some early ice tips from pro angler and fishing guide Bro Brosdahl. Lots to cover on this week's show, all coming up right after these messages.
Find your perfect Can-Am ATV or side-by-side at Hayward Power Sports. The all-new 2023 Can-Am Outlander ATVs were redesigned with the rider in mind for unmatched fun and value. Hit the woods or trails with models starting at $5,999. Plus, for a limited time, take advantage of a $500 rebate or 2.99% financing on select models. Looking for a side-by-side? The Can-Am Defender is the perfect utility side-by-side that's extra tough on the worksite, the ranch, or wherever you need to get the job done. Feel the adrenaline surge in the high-performance Can-Am Maverick, or get the best of work and play with the ultimate crossover, the Can-Am Commander. Claim the side-by-sides that fit your needs today and enjoy financing as low as 1.99% for 36 months on select models. Make every hunt a success, every trail ride an excitement-filled adventure, and make light work of your heavy-duty jobs, all with a brand-new Can-Am off-road vehicle from Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
Offer subject to credit approval. See dealer for details.
Riding along in my automobile.
Bumping into things unexpectedly? Make your first choice for collision repair. Ernie's Auto Body, featuring the most advanced collision repair facility in Northwest Wisconsin. With a state-of-the-art spray, bake-down, draft paint booth for that better-than-new finish, laser technology for precision frame alignment, loaner cars available, computerized estimates, written guarantees, and documented unmatched customer service, the clear choice is Ernie's Auto Body, south of Hayward on Highway 63 and Nursery Road, where quality is no accident.
Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering welcomes you to stop by for their great lunch menu. And while you're there, Lynn's also has a great selection of custom-cut meats and sausages, as well as many varieties of snack sticks, jerky, fresh cheese curds, and much more. Lynn's is open Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5:30 and 9 to 4 on Saturdays. Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering in Hayward.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period. Visit ampedoutdoors.com today to power your outdoor experience.
We're recording this week's show down at Hayward Bait and Bottle. I got Ken in here, and Ken, we're getting quite a few people starting to get out on the lakes right now ice fishing.
Yep, it's great weather to be out there. You still have to be careful on some of the current lakes, but then again, some of the main lakes crusted over, but still I wouldn't get out too far deep.
And I'm hearing a wide range of ice, but in most of the places, 4 or 5 inches is about the most.
Yep, there was a couple individuals that took their four-wheelers out. That's probably a little more much than I would.
Not me.
Not me to do either, but. And then there were some young kids out skating out on Lake Hayward the other day.
You bet. As far as the fishing, I heard some good reports on walleye fishing just before it's closed. It's closed on the Chippewa Flowage now, but the last few days I heard that they had some good walleye action out there, and I've had some reports of good walleye action on other waters right now.
Yeah, there's a couple people that are catching walleyes in 8 to 10 feet, which I guess is conducive to the lake they're fishing. Of course, it's Wishinu Lake, but I think the weed lines on first ice can be really good because you have a lot of sun penetration and it creates a good oxygen due to the weeds. Once the snow covers them, then the walleyes seem to go a little bit deeper.
When we're this early in the season too, is that you're not going to get out over the deep basins and stuff on most of these lakes, and what you want to start looking for is just look for the first available structure you can get to. If you've got some cribs that are right off the edge of something, or a weed bed, or a point, a rock pile, anything that you can get to is where you want to start with their first ice, I think.
Yeah, any subtle variations on a weed line off from a flat can hold a lot of walleye, especially though they'll come up towards the evening or low light conditions and cruise around looking for bait.
And guys are after crappies too right now, and there are a few places you can get out to deeper water, but those lakes are generally lakes where deep water is maybe 15 feet, 18 feet.
Yeah, like Nelson is a prime example. I mean, you can be in that at 5 to 8 feet right now and catch some good crappies. It just all depends. You don't always have to go to Lake 25 to catch them. Some of the bigger crappies ain't in amongst all the 8 and 9 inchers, but So, there's reports in the past that, I've seen pictures and reports of 49-inch northerns being caught on there on tip-ups, in the month of December. So,
and as far as that bait and equipment for this time of year, I mean, what's the best thing right now? It seems like tip-ups maybe with sucker minnows for the walleyes.
Yeah, walleye suckers and shiners. We have both sizes. And then a lot of anglers are going with jigging stuff, too. The presentation on ripping baits amongst weeds seems to, call the fish from further away, because live scope and electronics ain't going to work on weed flats. But I know back up in the Lake of the Woods, some of the best fishing would be ice fishing right in that 4 or 5 feet of water. And we'd use jigging wraps and even Swedish pimples, just ripping them, and we catch a lot of big walleyes.
Well, and to talk about northern pike also, that's another thing that you can catch right now, and up in the weeds.
Yep, another secret we used to do on Lake of the Woods, we'd take a great big willow blade and drill a hole on the other end, and we'd use that as kind of a flasher on our tip-ups.
Well, that's interesting. And I've seen where some of the guys now are using some of these Livingston sound bullets and putting on there making sound.
Yep, that's technology that actually there's guys that come in and they outproduce any other tip-up when there's a group of 6 of them.
It's interesting, all this technology, and, whether you like it or you don't like it out there, you want to fish. If you want to fish without the technology, you can go out and fish without it. If you want to fish with it, the one thing I will say is the fish seem to be getting smarter. As long as we're getting smarter with technology, the fish seem to be getting harder to catch too. So, it kind of evens out.
I've been out with groups of guys, they'll be running them $800 units and, they're not really catching. They catch a couple, and then all of a sudden, all that pinging. I used to put PCV pipe or 8-foot cane poles, just put your rod in the water and you could hear your transducers pinging on there, and then the power of this live scope and some of these other ones, they're like 5,000 watts. Sound travels like 50 times better or further in water than it does in air. Another important thing, for walleyes, I'll just let the listeners know that, boy, there's a riching hour. As soon as the sun hits them trees, have your holes drilled by 3 o'clock. Your success rate will go way up. Don't worry about live scope or any electronics. Keep it simple, just a tip up. Use a 4-foot fluorocarbon leader to your weight and let the minnow swim freely. And my biggest walleye is over 13 pounds out of the Coudray in 2007.
Yeah, you said make sure your holes are all drilled. That's the worst thing you can do is go out there and constantly be drilling holes.
Yeah, especially, they're going to bite soon, better drill some more holes. No, we got to have them drilled by 3.
Well, and hunting seasons are open right now, too. We're going to wrapping up the muzzleloader season this week. It'll be closed by the time this airs, but there'll be the short doe season, and then the guys got opportunity to hunt clear up till the end of the year and even into the next year for the bow and archery season.
This archery season, it was just kind of a short window to actually sit on a trap line. For a 5-year-old buck, but those archery guys, you watch this next dark moon, they're going to run their whole loop. So get back on your stand, especially with this weather. You'll be able to sit out there all day.
You bet. Well, you guys are pretty well equipped down here at the shop. You got a whole lot of ice shelters. If you want to look at what's available in ice shelters, they got a big selection in here. They can stop by. You can sit in them. You can look at them, talk to the guys here. And you've also got the power augers, electric augers. You've got all the bait tackle for ice fishing. Plus, you got lots more in here.
Yep, we just putting together a clam now that has the light bar, up on top. It's kind of one of my favorites. It's kind of nice just having lights that'll click a switch.
Well, Ken, there's been a lot of interesting stuff here. I want to thank you for coming on here.
Well, thanks for stopping, John.
Well, folks, we need to take a break right now and hear from some of the fine sponsors that make this show possible every week. When we come back, we'll be talking to Kevin Bushnick from the Youth Conservation Alliance. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hunters and anglers, Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop sport and bottle shop in Hayward. They have a huge selection of ice fishing gear, including portable shelters, power augers, electronics, beaver dam tip-ups, ice rods, and just about anything you'll need for ice fishing. They also have archery supplies, bows, crossbows, muzzle loaders, ammo, and much more to help you enjoy the outdoors. While you're there, check out the bottle shop for a full selection of beer, wine, and liquor, too. Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop sport and bottle shop.
The Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau in Sawyer County, Wisconsin welcomes you to our Northwoods hometown. No matter the season, no matter the activity, you'll always be surrounded by our great outdoors. What more could you ask for in a vacation destination? Woods, waters, world-class events. Contact us for information on lodging, dining, attractions, events, trail conditions, and more. Order your free vacation guide and start planning your getaway today. Visit us at haywardlakes.com or call 1-800-724-2992.
Get the deal of a lifetime on a new Lund from Hayward Power Sports. Truth is, our 2023s arrived late and we missed out on early season sales. So we have a huge inventory of them, but desperately need to make room for the 2024s. It's the perfect storm for incredible deals. From the entry-level Lund Adventure to the awesome Lund Impact XS and everything in between. They're all rigged with Mercury outboards and offered at blowout prices. Get your new Lund at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
Welcome back to another segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors, and this part of the show is brought to you by the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau. For more information on lodging and vacationing here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out their website at haywardlakes.com. Well, folks, you know, one of the events that goes on every year up here in the Hayward area is the Youth Muskie Hunt, but there's also a Father's Day event that's put on by Kevin Bushnick and the Youth Conservation Alliance every year. Had a chance to talk to Kevin after the event this fall, talking about what went on and some of the plans for the next year. Kevin, good to have you on the show here.
Good to be here again, John. The years just keep going by.
Yeah, a lot of years since you started doing that stuff. You had a couple events here as we were closing out the year for this year. You had a couple of events this year that were quite a few kids at them.
Yeah, we did our annual Father's Day event on Round Lake, and that turnout is always good. And we had a really good weather and a lot of participation, a lot of new kids coming out.
Yep. And you had an event on Moose Lake, too, the muskie hunt, right?
Yep, the youth muskie hunt. So we've done that for 12, 13 years now, and that one went great, too.
How many kids usually wind up at these things?
Well, we've had anywhere when we first started, which was a half dozen kids, and then we grew it to about 80 or 90, and that was just too many people running around, a lot of boats, so we kind of scaled it back to around 50, and this year we had like 35, which I honestly, I like the smaller events because it's less stressful, it's less dangerous, it's more manageable with the restaurants, and we get to spend more time teaching the kids how to fish. Oh, you're right.
Well, you know, and there's like the muskie hunt event, some of these kids have been coming since they were just little bitty kids.
Yeah, I know. That's really cool to see. Some of the kids that participated early on back in 2010, 2011, they're in college or graduated college. And several of them have become biologists, zoologists, and it's really neat to see, you know, a little bit of what we taught them go into their, early on in their careers now.
I know you're a real high-tech type person. That's what your job is, your business is. But your boat reflects that, too. You spend a lot of time on the lake, and you do a lot of research out there.
Yeah, I do. So I'm on the board of the property owners for Round Lake, and I'm a chair over fisheries and lake research. And, again, we use these advanced tools that have helped us research fish and the environment around the lakes. And it's really, it's kind of a neat thing to do. It's not just about fishing. We're really teaching the kids how to be good stewards of the environment, and it works.
Well, you know, in looking at the different things we've got, you know, invasive species, one particular one is Eurasian milfoil, and in some cases it doesn't hurt anything.
No, I don't. I mean, on a shallower lake, it might be, more invasive. Round Lake's got it. It's certainly not bad for the fish. I mean, I've spent, maybe 200 days looking at underwater cameras, and a lot of that on Round Lake. And, there's fish all over that vegetation. And while it is invasive, it's, in my opinion, and this is a little bit controversial, you probably agree with me, John, but it's been a great thing for the fish and the fishery and catching fish because they're all around these vegetation patches.
There were no weeds on this lake when I started fishing it years ago. And a healthy lake is a lake that has good vegetative growth, good fish habitat, good all stuff.
Yeah, I think, the board of the property owners as a whole has done a really good job. We manage some spots that are in shallower water, so the recreational boaters, the water skiers, the jet skiers can have relatively clean water. And some, the problem occurs is when these boats go through these vegetation patches, they just kind of chop it up and it spreads. But you have to have a balance, not just for the fishermen. It sounds crazy me saying this because I'm all about fishing, but, the recreational boaters, it's their lake too. So we just try to maintain a good balance.
Back to the Youth Conservation Alliance thing. I know you've had these events for many years. What's your plans for the future?
Well, we're just going to keep doing it as long as we can. More of these properties and resorts are getting sold off, and it makes it harder for us to access the lakes with large groups of kids. So we just, one of my friends said, Kevin, you just do whatever you can as much as you can, and you can't do any more than that. And that's kind of how we've approached these. Round has been a very good lake because it's not, as you know, John, it's hard to catch a muskie out of Round Lake. And when you do, it's usually a trophy fish. But a lake like Moose Lake, there's a lot of smaller ones, even though there is, from time to time, we catch a good one. But the kids don't care. If they catch a 35-inch muskie, they're thrilled. The smiles are there, and it's not all about catching the biggest fish.
You also concentrate on teaching conservation and other stuff too.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We've done water testing, and we've had the DNR with us over the years, looking at bugs and things like that under the microscope. And some of these bug hatches are very interesting. And it's interesting when they happen and how the fish react to it. And the kids, surprisingly, they pay attention. They actually take a look at this stuff and they carry it with them throughout their lifetime. And Moose Lake it's a very unique body of water. As you know, you live on it. And we usually have a pretty high degree of success. This year, we had one kid, Garrett, caught, 200 plus inches of bass. I think he caught 25 or 30 fish. So it's neat to see that, right? If they're not going after muskie, there's plenty of bass and other species out there like crappie that the kids enjoy catching as well.
Well, sometimes you're better off to go after something that'll bite rather than muskies where you're talking a low-density fish. When it comes to kids, you want to keep them entertained and you want to keep them, getting some action.
Yeah, and they're pretty resilient. I mean, even this year we had some, it wasn't super cold, but there was high winds, a lot of rain, and you got to hand it to these kids. They just hang in there, put their rain gear on, and go out, and they really, there's not too many of them that want to come in. They want to stay out there, catch fish, and it's a great thing to see.
I suppose you will keep us informed as to what the plans are for this next upcoming year.
Yeah, generally we do this the third week in September, and of course Round Lake is Father's Day weekend. But yeah, the muskie hunt has been special. John, you've been at this with me since the beginning, as well as Larry Ramsel, and Daryl Niebauer came out this year. I think he boated the biggest muskie. But we had one really special guest, Nolan Bearhart. He came out, he's 8 years old, came out with his parents, and I love it. I absolutely love to see the whole family come, and they did. His mom, Courtney, is a teacher in Hayward, and his dad is the chief conservation officer, or game warden rather, for the tribe, the LCO tribe. And it was really it was a heartwarming experience. He has a heart defect that affects the lining of his heart wall. And his mom said, well, we have about 2 to 3 hours with Nolan before he gets tired and we'll need to go in. So I don't usually pray much at these events, but I actually did ask God 2 things at this one. One of them was that he hold Mother Nature off on us, and the other one is that we could get Nolan a muskie. And at the very end, we kind of went upriver with about 6 boats, kind of carpet bombed the thing with suckers to get Nolan a fish. And right at the very end, when we were heading in, we hadn't caught anything yet, and a big muskie hit. And of all places, right under the bridge where the current is the strongest and the wind was blowing. And so this fish hits right under the bridge, and I'm glad that there wasn't a helicopter filming the whole thing, because we had boats running into each other. They're going over the weeds. There's huge boulders under that bridge, as you know. But it was great. We got him a fish. In fact, his picture's up on the TV here. And that was that's a very heartwarming thing. And I don't know who's smiling wider here, his dad or Nolan, but his mom was there. His sister, Palin, was there. And I love that. I love seeing everybody come together to do the right thing, and he'll remember this for the rest of his life, for sure.
Well, one thing about fishing, it's supposed to be fun, and above all, it's supposed to be fun being out there, and it sounds like you guys have a lot of fun at these events.
Yeah, we do, and like you said earlier, we have a lot of technology to help us, and you're more into technology even than I am with the way your boat is set up, and we use this, yes, for lake research, but we also use it to put the kids on the fish, and it puts some fun into it, and they all get together at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we have a picture of the lake, and they put a thumbtack in that picture of the lake where they caught the fish, and all the kids just hover around that thing. They want to see where the fish are being caught, and it's a neat thing to watch.
You bet. Well, it's a very interesting thing that goes on, and I want to thank you, Kevin, for taking the time to talk to us here about it. It's a lot of interesting stuff there.
Yeah, I love when the parents come out, and we usually require at least one parent to be on the boat, and that's worked really well for us. I don't know, we'll just keep doing it as long as we can, and there is a really high level of participation. We're starting to, as these other kids get older and they don't come to the event, it's nice to see the new participants come in, and we had a lot of them this year.
Well, keep up the good work there with the kids, and also with all the studies you do on the lakes, and see what's going on in the lakes. I know just about every rock in Round Lake now with your video. You've taken underwater video stuff.
Yeah, I actually have names for the fish, and I see them from time to time when we do the fyke netting with the DNR in May when they're spawning, and it's great. I enjoy seeing fish as much as I do catching them, and I think the kids do as well. It's great. You lose some of these muskies. It's an apex predator, very powerful fish, and you don't always get them. I was fishing this last week, and I had a big one on, and I was just glad I saw it. They're just spectacular.
Kevin, I want to thank you for taking the time with us here.
All right, thanks, John. Thanks for participating.
Well, folks, we need to take yet another break and hear from even more of the fine sponsors that bring this show to you every week. When we come back, we'll be talking early ice fishing tips with pro angler and fishing guide Bro Brosdahl. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hey folks, come on over to Hayward Ace Hardware and check out the area's largest selection of firearms, ammo, and accessories. We carry top brands like Browning and Sig Sauer, and we have a great selection of the newest and hard-to-find models. We've got a large selection of ammo with more coming in daily. If you need a scope, we carry great brands like Leupold, Hawk, and EOTech, and we'll even mount it and bore-sight it for you too. We even sell suppressors and silencers. And don't forget to check out our Guns of the Week. Huge discounts on a variety of pistols, rifles, and shotguns that change every week. So stop on in to Hayward Ace Hardware, your firearms superstore. Hayward Ace Hardware, Highway 63 North in Hayward, or give us a call at 715-634-8700.
Hayward Animal Hospital is a full-service medical and surgical hospital featuring on-site laboratory, digital and dental x-ray, in-house pharmacy, and online store. Dr. Ostrander has 40 years of experience dealing with illnesses, injuries, surgery, and dentistry. Hayward Animal Hospital offers urgent care appointments and emergency surgery daily. Please call early in the day for these appointments. They open at 8 a.m. Hayward Animal Hospital is located 1 mile east of Hayward on Highway B. Call 715-634-8971.
If you'd like to have your time fishing be more enjoyable and productive, hiring a fishing guide can be a good investment. Whether it's learning more about fish patterns throughout the year, learning how to use your depth finder to find the best spots and fish, learn how to use that GPS to get the most out of it, or learn better boat control. A day on the water with a guide can really help you to be a better angler, as well as make a day on the lake very enjoyable. To book a guide trip this year or get more information, you can find us on the internet at www.wiscnorthlandoutdoors.com, and then just click on Area Guides.
Welcome back to the last segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. And folks, the ice fishing season is underway now. And this last weekend, I had a chance to get down to that big ice fishing show in St. Paul. And one of the guys I ran into down there was pro angler and fishing guide Bro Brosdahl. And a chance to talk to him, and he gave us some great tips for that early ice fishing. Bro, we're talking a little bit about early ice fishing, too. This is a time when, up in northern Wisconsin, a lot of the guys want to get out and set their tip-ups if they can get to where they think the walleyes are going to be. But the pan fishing can be kind of overlooked, but it can be really good early.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing I've been playing with is using rods and iFish Pro tip-up, and I will use that and set them out with rods so that when the flag goes off, you're reeling the fish. And I know some of those flowages in Wisconsin, some of the bigger crappies get caught on set lines, dead sticks, live minnow, split shot, glow lure, and a dorsal hooked minnow work fantastic. And then, you reel them in when you catch them. You don't have to hand over hand it. So it's like a hybrid tip up, and it's insulated so it keeps the hole from freezing over. And if it gets super, super cold, I got a little trick. I take little bubblers, and I take a bubbler, and I'll tape it to it, and I'll put the bubbler stone down the hole, keeps it freezing over. And you don't need any flame. You don't have to worry about burning anything, burning your line. You're just using bubbler.
Little aerator.
Yeah, a little aerator. And I don't have to do that very often because it's insulated. But, so the iFish Pro Tip-Up is perfect for crappies, walleyes, northerns. You could set it light, and it'll go off, and then, have a St. Croix panfish combo on that. It's going to work really well.
Well, if you're after bigger crappies, I mean, fishing for bigger panfish is a little bit different than fishing for little ones, because sometimes it's better you got to get through the little ones to get to the bigger ones, because they a lot of times seem to be under them.
Yeah, and tethering a larger minnow, almost I would call it a small walleye minnow. You don't want to call it a big walleye minnow, but you're going to get bigger crappies using a little bit bigger bait and waiting it out, and you might accidentally catch some walleyes while you're doing it. So it's a win-win situation, and also for perch. In my neck of the woods, we have lots and lots of perch, and I like to put out extra lines. It adds to your catch by the end of the day, whether you're out fun fishing or keeping them to fry up later. So I've been using iFish Pro. It's simple. And there's no heat, there's no flame. You just drop it, set it, and go. And it's so simple, and just a great idea. And stack them up, set out your lines, and then jig around them.
I suppose, I know I have, I'm sure you have too, caught a fair number of crappies on bigger walleye minnows by accident. So they'll eat a bigger bait. Big crappie, I mean, you're talking 14-inch crappie or so. They've got a pretty big mouth. They can eat a pretty big minnow.
Yeah, I've caught, I can't tell you how many crappies, even 11 and a half, 12 inches, will hit walleye baits in open water and on ice. They'll hit a quarter-ounce spoon. Not all of them, but you're gonna get more fish or more good-sized fish putting a bigger minnow on, and maybe using it with an eyeball spoon. Eyeball's got a treble hook, but if you dorsal hook a minnow, they're not gonna not bite on it. They don't know what a treble hook is. They just see the minnow, they smell the minnow, and they see the decoration there, and they eat it. And smaller baits like a 4-inch fry jig has a single hook. That is a tip up. That's a tip up bomb. It works really good. It really does good for fish.
And when it comes to baits and stuff, everybody wants to think small all the time for crappies, but like we said, bigger baits sometimes. And the other thing people just ignore is active baits, whether it be a jigging style bait like a puppet minnow or a spoon type bait, because they'll go after them pretty readily.
Oh, absolutely. It depends on the barometric pressure, weather patterns. If the fish are active, that makes the biggest difference. If you're fishing for a fish that ain't going to bite, you got to go light. If you're fishing and you don't know what's happening, use bigger lures to see what they're willing to go for. And so that doesn't mean go quarter ounce, but 1/8 ounce for sure. Even a little tiny crappie could take an 1/8 ounce lure. So, and we're not fishing for tiny fish.
You bet.
We're fishing for medium to large fish.
Well, Bro, I know there's a lot of great information. Somebody wants to follow you. You have a lot of stuff on the internet and stuff. And
yeah, just go to brosguideservice.com or go to the Bro Roadshow. In the Bro Roadshow, I used to have the roadshow where I visit ice fishing destinations and stores throughout the entire ice belt, from the Dakotas to New York and Iowa, Wisconsin, all through the whole mix. And so we just turned that into a podcast. So we have the Bro Roadshow podcast on YouTube. And then also just follow my adventures. I want to make sure that I can help you learn more about ice fishing. Whether you hire me as a guide or you come, to watch the shows, or just definitely check it out. I try to put a lot of tips and things on YouTube.
Well, Bro, thank you. As usual, you're a regular on the show here. I appreciate you having me.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show here. Thank you so much.
Well, folks, we're about out of time for this week's show. I'd like to remind everyone out there that if you miss a show, go to our website at wnoradio.com. And from there, you can link to our podcast site, and the show is also on Spotify and Google Podcasts every week. And also, if you're looking for information on vacationing and lodging here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau website at haywardlakes.com. Thanks for listening, folks. We're out of time, and we'll be back again next week with another interesting show for you.
Listen with me, I'm gonna take you there to our Wisconsin outdoors, our Wisconsin outdoors.
This program has been produced and hosted entirely by Wisconsin Northland Outdoor Communications. Any and all views expressed are not necessarily those of the station.